Today's video is brought to you in part by the word China. As in, is global news China throw Justin Trudeau under the bus?
The deadly fire sparked nationwide outrage because widely circulated videos, which have now been censored in China, show that COVID lockdown measures very likely delayed firefighters from getting to the scene. State media claims that people in the compound were allowed to leave the building. However, videos show fire trucks unable to get close to the scene because the compound entrance was partially blocked. The video shows it's blocked with fences, tents, and metal barriers that are normally used as part of COVID measures. The video shows smoke and flames coming from a high floor of the building, but the water failing to actually reach the fire. What adds to the tragedy is that those who died in the fire likely spent their last 3 months largely confined to that building.
Yeah, that's right, fucked up, but don't forget that Trudeau admires China's basic dictatorship, so that very well could take place here in Canada, ladies and
There's
gentlemen.
a level of admiration I actually have for China, because their basic dictatorship is allowing them
To do what? Shit like this?
In a statement, Justin Trudeau said that Canada stands with the people who are expressing themselves, further outlining and how Canada was in fact watching the demonstrations unfold in China very, very closely.
Of course we were watching. They were welding people inside of buildings and dousing children in chemicals. It was literally looking like the scariest scene from E.T. Where did you want us to look? It was so fucked up that the civilians had to kung fu fight for their lives.
Obviously, everyone in China should be allowed to express themselves, should be allowed to share their perspectives, and indeed protest. We're going to continue to ensure that China knows we'll stand up for human rights, we'll stand with people who are expressing themselves.
Did you just say that you stand with people expressing themselves, or stand on people expressing themselves? With horses.
Hold the line! Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Look what you did!
We also need to make sure that China and places around the world are respecting journalists and their ability to do their job.
Well, I guess except for these reporters at the convoy, huh, Trudeau?
We also need to make sure that China and places around the world are respecting journalists and their ability to do their job.
What do you even want us to say? The whole world's done with this COVID narrative. Let's move on.
Everything we discuss is then leaked to the paper. That's not appropriate.
而且我们也不是那样进行的。
And that's not how the way the conversation was
如果
conducted.
有诚心，咱们就以互相尊重的态度来进行很好的沟通。
If there is,
否则这个结果就不好说了。
if there is sincerity on your part,
free and open and frank dialogue, and that is what we will continue to have. We will continue to look to work constructively together, but there will be things we will disagree on, and we will have to
可以建设性。
创造条件，创造条件。
Let's create the conditions first.
好，好。
Why would mainstream media show us this? What are they trying to start now?
First of all, not every conversation is always going to be easy, but it's extremely important that we continue to stand up for the things that are important for Canadians. This is something we always do, and we will continue to. But let me be clear. I do not have any information, nor have I been briefed, on any federal candidates receiving any money from China.
It'd probably be easier to sell the lie if it wasn't for all these connections that you had.
Why do you think he was so upset? What was the message that he was trying to get across to you? Do you think this was a power play of some kind?
We know that China is an important global player in the economy and has a very big impact on events around the world. Canada needs to be able to engage constructively and directly on areas we can work together, while at the same time we continue to be there to challenge on human rights, on values and principles that matter to Canadians, and look to advance the interests of Canadians. And this is something that we're going to consistently do in a clear and hopefully a constructive way.
Beijing has slammed Canada after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau accused China of election interference. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said that Ottawa should stop making remarks that hurt relations.
Trudeau and Freeland spew all sorts of dumb shit out of their mouths. Quit trying to take it so personal.
Now, you sometimes hear about liberal bias in the media these days, how they're constantly letting our government off the hook for no good reason. Frankly, I think that's insulting. It's clear that they let us off the hook for a very good reason, because we paid them $600 million.
Did you forget to pay off Global News, Trudeau?
The Prime Minister repeated that in his security briefings, he was not told about funding of federal candidates specifically by the Chinese government.
There has never been any information given to me on the funding of federal candidates by China.
Trudeau did not address reporting by Global News that sources say a clandestine election interference network was covertly funded by Chinese state entities in the 2019 federal election, and that the Prime Minister was briefed in 2022 by Canadian intelligence officials on these stunning allegations of political interference schemes.
You did something to piss off Global News. I guess it sucks that you repealed Section 181 under the Criminal Code back in 2019, huh?
Separate sources with knowledge of the 2022 intelligence briefs told Global News funds from the Chinese consulate in Toronto, allegedly facilitated by a Toronto businessman, Wei Cheng-yi, totaling some $250,000, was transferred first to an unnamed Ontario MPP and a federal candidate staff member. Wei Cheng-yi denies the allegations. From there, sources say the money was distributed to members of a clandestine network. Intelligence says the network was comprised of at least 11 federal candidates, along with 13 campaign staffers. According to the intelligence, some are wittingly affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party, some are not. Sources say the network includes liberals and conservatives.
Listen, we're done with COVID and we're done with war. Let's move on to aliens teaching us how to live from the heart. Come on, let's go. Don't forget to follow us on all of our socials, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Let's go.